Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I've lost my voice a little bit, but not completely. That'll be done today and tomorrow when XRP Las Vegas starts. Before I get going, I wanted to give I'm not going to call this a shout out. Most people that have come up to me have had, are very nice and all, but I had a funny conversation with this guy. I was talking to him and he said, listen, I listen to you every morning when I wake up, but my girlfriend, she says, do we have to listen to that intro again? And she came up to me and we talked it out. And I was like, well, I said, you know what just happened to you? When Mr. B told me it irritated him that I adjusted my volumes after I start the show, which, well, let's do that as long as we're here. Let me see if I can adjust the volumes here. That's for Mr. B. But this is for, her name is Jill Armstrong, and she's in real estate in Iowa. And I told her that I was going to, every once in a while, incorporate her into my show because, she gave me a pen. So I'm going to keep this on my desk at home. And every once in a while, I'm going to put the intro at the beginning of this show twice. And when I do that, you'll know that that's dedicated to Jill Armstrong. So today, you're going to get to watch my intro twice. Those of you that don't want to see it, because Jill has to wake up in the morning and listen to her husband listening to this, and she hates the intro. So she's going to listen to it twice whenever I dedicate it to her. So there you go, Jill. I told you I was going to do it. No, I met all kinds of nice people, including Jill. But we were joking around about that, and I said, well, it's got to be done now. So the other thing I need to do is I need to go ahead and give out a title, because this lady right here, when we took people to dinner at the Bellagio the other night, the red velvet jacket and the major mullet with chops. This guy, I don't want to come out and say his name because I don't want to out people like that, but unless they want to. But this lady right here says, "Oh my God, who is the legend with the chops and red jacket?" And he responded, he's the at Baron of Beach Street. I met him last year at XRP Las Vegas. But he is now the official legend of the Digital Asset Investor channel. Now that might be one of the more powerful titles I've given out on this channel. And you know what's going to happen now. Now I'm going to get a whole line of people today when I go to XRP Las Vegas that are going to be asking me for titles. If you do want a title, the way you do that is you tell me, you write down what you want your title to be, and then I'll put it in my pocket because otherwise I'll forget. Brad Garlinghouse tweeted out about the conference. We're very excited to see a number of XRP community-led events. So Brad, we found out as of this tweet that Brad Garlinghouse is going to be at XRP Las Vegas. Or that's what it looks like. We know he's going to be at the Future of Digital Assets benefit dinner. That's futureofdigitalassets.com. Code, the discount code's 589. I think you can still get them. I don't know. But anyway, moving along, this was a great video going around yesterday. Listen to this.
As I've always said, is crypto markets are volatile by nature. It's a 70% volatility asset class. It has deep drawdowns and it has tremendous upside. In fact, it's the best performing asset class in all recorded history. But with that best performance comes volatility. It's something I warn about in this don't fuck this up thesis, which is don't take leverage.
Thesis.
Don't try and trade around or FOMO into stuff. Just be careful what you do and stick to the basics, stick to the bigger tokens. If you're going to degen into stuff, do it in the smaller stuff, because that stuff's much more volatile. Your probability of getting it wrong is very high, although you can get 100x in the space as well. I understand that's attractive to many people, but I'm trying to keep everybody on the straight and narrow. And when you see these drawdowns, it always feels terrible. And I've been doing this since 2013, and they always never feel great. But the reality is, it's normal. So it's normal in the fact that in the last 12 months, you've probably forgotten this, but this is our 5th or 6th 20% pullback in Bitcoin. So you've dealt with this many times before. You just kind of forget it, which is weird. And I think Coinbase put out a super interesting tweet, which was there have been 5 Bitcoin bull markets. In an average bull market, you'll have to survive the following to ride it to the top. 6, 5 to 10% drawdowns, 3, 10 to 20% drawdowns, 2, 20 to 30%, 1, 30 to 40, 1, 40 to 70. And that's all during a bull market. So it takes a certain kind of gumption. It takes an ability to turn off Twitter, to turn off your screens and say, has my thesis changed? Is the adoption of this technology stopping? Is there any other reason that it's going to slow down? Where are we in the business cycle? I spend enormous amounts of time trying to educate you guys that this is a macro asset and it's driven by the business cycle. Just happens to be forward looking like technology stocks, and it's driven by the liquidity cycle. So has something changed in the business cycle that would tell us that we're going to have a failed crypto cycle? Well, in all probability, that's a no.
Great clip. Okay. This is another great clip with Tim Draper.
So we got this central bank, and that central bank is keeps printing currency for the politicians. And when they print that currency, we suffer because our dollars get to be worth less. Centralization relies on a single entity. That's why I'm a Bitcoiner, and I like some of the other currencies, the Tezos and some of the others, because they're decentralized. But a lot of these currencies are very centralized, and I'm not a big fan because it's the same thing. Now, at least they're digital. And people ask me about, the digital dollar. Let me clue you in. The digital dollar will go the same way as the dollar does. So keep that in mind. So we got this.
All right.
So
that's Tim Draper. And then here's yet another great clip here where they're talking about USD stable coins and all that.
Video were the comments made by Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire. As most of you will know, Circle is the issuer of the USDC stablecoin, whose reserves are managed by BlackRock. Not surprisingly, Jeremy is a fan of tokenization. USDC is literally a tokenized US dollar. The authors connect this to the disclosures in BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF filings, which say that the price of BTC can be influenced by stablecoins like USDC, that BlackRock manages USDC reserves and is an investor in Circle. In other words, BTC's price can be influenced by something BlackRock controls. The authors stop short of saying that this creates an enormous incentive for Circle and BlackRock to disrupt other stablecoin issuers. Instead, they focus on the fact that both Circle and BlackRock want USDC to be front and center in the tokenized financial system that they both seem to be working on.
All right. Now, check this out. This was Rob Cunningham put this up. This was John Deaton. Last night, we went to the Link2 meetup. It was a cocktail party at Jalisco in Resorts World here in Vegas. And John got up on stage and gave a speech about, he was doing the, it was a political, I don't know if you'd call it a fundraiser, but so John was there, and I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll play a little bit of what he said.
Let me tell you briefly why I decided to get in the race, because everybody asked that question. And the answer is, when you look at me on this stage, you truly are looking at the living, breathing embodiment of the American dream. And anyone in this room that's read my book knows what I'm talking about. And I see that dream dying. And when I look at the country, we're in like this perpetual crisis. You have illegal immigration that's completely out of control. You have a debt crisis. And when I say debt crisis, I'm talking the government's $34 trillion in debt. Personal credit cards are over $1 trillion. Student loans are at $1.6 trillion. 40% of Americans don't have $500 set aside in case of an emergency. And on top of that crisis, we have all the inflation. Where I live in Massachusetts, it's the second or third most expensive state in the country. It's the third highest in housing in the country. Regular people are getting priced out of the economy, and the poor, which I have a real affinity for because that was me, are being crushed. And so then you look, that's just inside. Then there's 1 million American lives have been lost due to opioid addiction.
So he did, there's 5 minutes of that, but you can go to Rob Cunningham's feed to see the rest of that. But John did a really good job. Now we're going to go into DAIXRP.com and we're going to talk about some people that are here in XRP Las Vegas and some things going on. And also, just a reminder, I am the official sponsor of the XRP Las Vegas coffee stations. There will be cinnamon. Brad Combs told me yesterday that they had checked all the cinnamon shakers, and so it is legit. Maybe I'll stand behind that station, one of those stations, and serve some cinnamon in your coffee. We'll see how that goes. We'll see. We're about an hour out from heading over to the event, so I didn't even plan on doing a video this morning. I just saw that I had some time, so I'm going to see if I can get this up. Okay, here we go. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Tell your friends and family that Jill Armstrong is the reason you all had to listen to 2 intros today. Thanks for listening. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing that's going to be up is for Fruition Productions, and they're going to do like a 15-minute version of their, like a big trailer, stuff nobody's seen yet. Second, you're going to have Ripple and Uphold partnership. It's going to be all the Uphold people, the executives, and then you'll have lunch, and then after that it's going to be Perry Ann Boring about policy on Capitol Hill, and then 1:15, 1:45 it's going to be Quincy Jones, Farron Pratt, the guy from Jeff from Moy Finance, and Rachel Wolfson. Then it's going to be Joe Indoso, Private Equity, and IPO, Jason Cousins, Kevin Maloney, Will Petrusky, Robin O'Connell from Uphold. And then after that, it's going to be Chris Giancarlo and Brad Combs. That'll be one you're not going to want to miss. Oh, and luckily, for 2 years in a row, I've been able to keep myself from having to be on stage because I want no part of it. I'm more interested in just talking to everybody. Thanks for listening.